How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to my channel. So tonight I want to rank the 12 films in the filmography from Christopher Nolan. This is a director that some people really love, some are kind of lukewarm on, and some don't like him at all, really. So it's really great. I really like a lot of his movies. I can definitely see a lot of things that people don't like about his movies. Some of them are very cold in a lot of ways, very visual. I think they're good stories, really interesting stories in many cases, but I don't think I really hate any of his films, really. There's just some that I like a little bit more than others, and so I'm going to rank these kind of like from the ones I like the least to the ones I like the most. But I wouldn't say I really hate any of his movies, but I think Christopher Nolan's really an interesting kind of person. If you know his background, his father is English, his mother is an American, and it's really strange because I think he kind of grew up in England, but I think his brother Jonathan actually has lived in like Chicago for most of his life, even though he was born in England as well. And so it's kind of interesting how if you listen to Christopher Nolan, he sounds very British, but if you listen to his brother Jonathan, he sounds very American because basically, Christopher Nolan grew up with his father and Jonathan grew up with his mother. So at number 12, this one was actually released in 1999. It's Christopher Nolan's debut film, and the movie is Following. This is on the Criterion Collection. It's spine number 638. And actually, if you look on Wikipedia, it says this was released in 1998. So I think basically the international release was probably in 99. But this definitely has, for his debut film, it's not bad. Really, the editing is really chaotic on this. Filmed in England, and it kind of goes back and forth in time, and it has a lot of actors that aren't really extremely experienced. But it actually has the uncle for Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan. His name is John Nolan. If you ever saw the TV show Person of Interest, he was like the British, kind of villain on that show, and Jonathan Nolan was one of the writers and creators of that show. So I really loved that show when it was on, and it was on like five seasons on CBS. Really loved it. It's one of the last TV shows that I really watched on network TV that I really loved. But this film, like I said, for his debut, I think he does pretty well on it. So at number 11 from 2002, I have the movie Insomnia. This is a remake from a Norwegian movie. It has starring Al Pacino, and it has Robin Williams and Hilary Swank's in it. I think it's a good movie. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit, and it's a very foggy kind of movie. It kind of shows that Al Pacino kind of losing his mind, and it's kind of interesting. The storyline's good. It just kind of starts off one way and kind of ends a different way. And Robin Williams, it's kind of hard to watch him as a villain. At number 10 from 2012, I have The Dark Knight Rises. Obviously, Heath Ledger is supposed to be in this movie, and everything kind of changed when he passed away, unfortunately. Obviously it has Christian Bale, it has Anne Hathaway, Gary Oldman, has Tom Hardy as Bane. Has Michael Caine, one of 7 times that he's been in Christopher Nolan's movies. This movie, I think it was okay. I think it's kind of a dark movie for Christopher Nolan. It goes down a real dark path, and Bane's really kind of a dark character. Batman gets kind of beaten up in this movie. It's kind of hard to watch in some ways, but it's kind of grown on me over the years. But overall, I think it's worthy of being number 10, but it could be higher possibly. I'm sure some people like this movie a lot more than I do. At number 9 from 2020, I have Tenet. This one obviously was released during the COVID period, really dark time for a lot of people. It has John David Washington in it, Denzel Washington's son. Really kind of a very, very cold kind of movie in a lot of ways. A really interesting story. I love the camera work in this movie. Obviously, Kenneth Branagh plays like the bad guy in the movie. It has obviously Robert Pattinson is in it. I like this movie. In some ways, it's kind of grown on me over the years, but it's kind of brings back those memories from 2020. At number 8 from 2017, this one might be the most polarizing Christopher Nolan movie. The movie is Dunkirk. This movie is really interesting. I think to people in England, I think this definitely has a lot more part of their history. They're really proud of it. It has Mark Rylance is in it. He's a great actor. Cillian Murphy's in it, just barely in some ways. He's kind of off and on. Tom Hardy's in under a mask most of the movie. Barry Keoghan's in it. A lot of other actors in it are not very well known. So it's one of those. It's really a story of hope. I think, and really kind of interesting how the British people kind of rallied around their troops. At number 7 from 2006, I have The Prestige. This movie's definitely grown on me over the years. It has a Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine's in it. It has a Christian Bale, Michael Caine, second appearance from Michael Caine. You know, I love the magic in this movie, and a kind of interesting story. I think it gets a little bit too complicated, I think, for its own good. But overall, like I said, it's really grown on me over the years, and so I know a lot of people like this movie a lot more. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about The Prestige very much. At number 6 from 2014, I can't believe this movie's 10 years old now. It's Interstellar. I think some people might have this rank a little bit higher, possibly, but Matthew McConaughey has Anne Hathaway, has Jessica Chastain. I enjoy this movie. Michael Caine's in it as well. Another Michael Caine appearance. It's a movie. It's a little bit too long. I think. I think that kind of wears you out a little bit. It takes forever to get to that ending. It's really kind of interesting how it gets to the ending. Just kind of a strange kind of story. Really part of I think one of the more kind of creative stories from Christopher Nolan. So yeah, number 6. I think it's fair. Maybe it could go a little bit higher, but I like this movie a lot. At number 5 from 2005, I have Batman Begins. This one's really interesting. Basically, it takes a while to actually see Batman in this movie. It has Christian Bale's obviously great in this movie, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman. Really interesting but it kind of gives this backstory of Batman that you really never heard before. Christopher Nolan kind of made it up in a lot of ways, but there's kind of room there to kind of give you some backstory of Batman, which you had never heard. So I thought he did a good job just kind of giving that story and how Batman kind of became, learned how to fight, that kind of thing. So, I like Batman Begins quite a bit. I think the movie's a bit too long, though. At number 4 from 2000, I had Memento. This one I actually had not seen in quite a while. This is the second film from Christopher Nolan. It has like I said, the editing style that he had back on his first film kind of returns on this one. It's kind of back and forth and really chaotic. Guy Pearce is really great in this movie. Carrie-Anne Moss from the Matrix movies, really great. Joe Pantoliano, really great in this. He's also from the Matrix movies, at least from the first one. Really great though, and it's just really interesting how he basically can't remember anything, and how he kind of gets through the story, and really strange kind of story. But I really enjoy this one. At number 3 from 2010, I have Inception. Really great movie. This one, this is obviously return to Michael Caine, Leonardo DiCaprio. It has Paige, Tom Hardy, really great in this movie. Really interesting, kind of a lot of practical effects were used in this movie, kind of stuff they used like in 2001, just kind of how they made like the room kind of spin in this movie. Really great to watch. It's just to do that without CGI is really great. This movie, I need to give this one another watch. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but every time I see it, it just kind of amazes me, just the imaginative kind of storytelling. At number 2 from 2023, I have Oppenheimer. This one's very likely going to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Christopher Nolan's probably going to get his first Oscar as Best Director. So I look forward to that. That movie's probably going to sweep a lot of awards. Really hoping, even though I really liked Cillian Murphy in this movie, I'd really like to see Paul Giamatti win that Best Actor award. But if Murphy, if he wins Best Actor, I'd be quite thrilled. But I'd be even happier if Paul Giamatti were to win that award. But like I said, this movie's going to win a ton of awards on Oscar night. So at number 1 for 2008, I have The Dark Knight. This one's a great movie. This one's a bit too long overall, but Heath Ledger's really fantastic in this movie. He won Best Actor for this role. And obviously, he passed away, maybe less than a year actually before this movie premiered. Christian Bale again. You got Michael Caine again. Gary Oldman. Aaron Eckhart's really great in the movie. Just overall, the whole cast, the whole stories. I think it's one of the most creative comic book based stories ever. Love it overall. Heath Ledger really stole really Christian Bale, supposed to be the star of the movie, but Heath Ledger really kind of stole the show overall. But I love this movie every time I see it. Just think it's really creative. It shows Chicago, and it's just great how they kind of showcase that city. So overall. Yeah, maybe someday, Oppenheimer might take number 1 eventually, but I still have to say The Dark Knight's my number 1. So I really appreciate everybody watching tonight. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that. I really appreciate that. And everybody have a great night. Thank you.